Good evening, and welcome to Virginia Rep's Bedtime Stories. Oh, bedtime stories. That lovely old nighttime ritual of storytelling passed down from generation to generation. It's not about sharing stories with others. It's also about creating memories and quality time spent together with the company of a good tale. I mean, how is that? It makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. So, I'm just going to open this book, and we're going to see what comes out. And if you're ready, and I know I am, let me take you on a journey into the magical world of fairy tales. Tonight's story is The Red Shoes, as told by Margie Sutherland.
Oh, hi. Are you ready for a bedtime story? Do you have on your jammies? Well, if you don't, jump into your jammies and meet me right back here. The Red Shoes by Hans Christian Andersen. Adapted by me, Margie, especially for you. Once upon a time, there was a very sweet and kind little girl named Karen. She had no parents and was very poor. So poor that the only shoes she had were a pair of large wooden shoes that she wore in the wintertime. They didn't fit her at all and gave her terrible blisters and splinters. In the summertime, she had no shoes at all. One day, the shoemaker who lived in her village decided to make the poor little girl a pair of shoes. She gathered all the scraps she could find around her shop and sewed them all together to make the best pair of shoes she could. She even made sure they were Karen's favorite color, red. When the shoemaker gave Karen the shoes, she was so excited. Karen put them on right away and began skipping about the village. She skipped and skipped until she was very tired and decided to rest against an old carriage. Suddenly, a well-dressed lady emerged from the carriage. She looked at the little girl and smiled. "Do you have a home, child?" the lady asked. "No, miss," the little girl said. "Would you like to come home with me?" the lady asked, holding out her hand for Karen to join her in the carriage. "Yes, miss. Thank you," Karen said, taking the woman's hand. Karen was so excited and praised her new lucky red shoes for bringing her such good fortune. Many years passed. Karen held on to her lucky red shoes as long as she could. But in time, her red shoes disappeared along with her old life. The little girl grew into a young woman, and the lady who took her in became her mother. It did not take long for Karen to forget that she was ever that poor little girl with no shoes. Her mother bought her all the shoes and all the things she could ever dream of. She bought her toys, clothes, and jewels. But Karen was not always that very sweet and kind girl her mother adopted. Sometimes she was rude. She could act spoiled and be disobedient, which did not make her mother very happy. One Saturday morning, Mother gave Karen money to go to the shoemaker. "School begins on Monday, and you need a new pair of shoes. Go to the shoemaker and get the best black shoes you can find." Black shoes, Karen thought. She wanted red shoes, like the ones she had before. "May I get red shoes, Mother?" Karen asked. "No, my dear. You have a school uniform, so you must have black shoes. Now run along." Karen made her way to the shoemaker. When she arrived, she peered into the window, looking over all the shoes. And there, right before her eyes, were the most beautiful pair of red shoes she had ever seen. They reminded her of the pair she had had so long ago, but better. She knew Mother told her she must get black shoes, but she did not care. She bought the red shoes anyway. When Karen arrived home with red shoes instead of black shoes, her mother was furious. I told you, you must get black shoes. If you will not obey, then you will be punished. We are returning those shoes tomorrow. Now go to your room." "Fine!" Karen shouted back, storming to her room and slamming the door. She did not care if she would be punished or if the shoes would be returned tomorrow. She could at least enjoy them today. She put on her new shoes, laughing, playing, and dancing around her room, feeling no remorse for disobeying her mother. She danced and danced until she grew tired. But when she tried to rest, her feet would not stop dancing. She tried to sit down in a chair, but her feet would not stop dancing. She tried to lay on the floor, but her feet would not rest. She danced and danced around the room, unable to control herself. Finally, she thought, "The shoes!" She tried to remove them, but they would not budge. She pulled and tugged and tried to separate herself from them, but they would not be moved. The shoes forced her to dance all through the night and into the next day. As the sun was rising, she was still dancing, her legs sore and tired. She cried and begged for the shoes to stop. "Please, let me rest," she wailed. But the shoes continued to dance, dragging her along with them. Through the pain and the tears, she thought to herself, "If only I had bought the black shoes, none of this would be happening. If only I had obeyed my mother." Karen cried and cried some more, and soon she began calling out for her mother. "Mother! Mother, please!" Mother came running as fast as she could. There she found Karen dancing uncontrollably around the room. "Mother, I'm so sorry. I should have listened to your instructions. Please forgive me. These shoes have made me dance all night and all day. I have learned my lesson. Never again will I disobey." With those words, the shoes flew from Karen's feet and across the room. Karen fell to the ground, so tired from dancing all night and day. Her mother ran to her to comfort her. "I forgive you," Mother said, wiping the sweat from her daughter's face and kissing her on the forehead. Karen smiled, relieved. "We will certainly return those shoes today," she said, laughing and hugging her mother tight. The end. I hope you enjoyed my story. Good night.
Well, wasn't that a great story? You know, fairy tales truly are magical. So why don't you join me again next week when we open this book again? You never know what we might find. Until then,